Tired of shows that bark and scream at you? This is the show that speaks to you.
Here's the game plan.
It's the Big E Sports Extravaganza, where we go inside the issues, present a variety of topics, and feature some of the biggest sports guests on the planet. Now, here's the one and only, award-winning Elissa Walker Campbell.
Hey, welcome back to the Big E Sports Show. I'm your host, Elissa Walker Campbell, and indeed, it is a big weekend in the NFL and with the college football playoff. But we're going to shift gears and we're going to take time for a book review. We're going to lead off by congratulating my guest, Rishi Sadagopan, who has just penned his first book. It is titled Parenting with Values in Today's World, Hidden Secrets from Golf. It is a thoughtful, timely work that speaks to parents navigating an increasingly complex world. So this conversation is going to go beyond scorecards and trophies and swing mechanics. It is truly about parenting, character, and raising grounded kids in a very fast-moving, noisy culture. Rishi, it is a true honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much for carving out some time.
Yeah, thank you, Elissa, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for taking the time. Yep.
You bet. Well, congratulations on your very first book. So tell us the inspiration and what was the moment or the realization that you thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and write a book about parenting with values in today's world.
Yeah, Elissa. So like most parents, I didn't set out to write a book. I was just trying to, raise the kids with the right values in a world that I thought was moving really fast at that time. And it's still moving extremely fast with AI and things coming along, right? Over time, what I noticed was something interesting, right? Some of the best life lessons weren't coming from, say, lectures or rules, but from everyday moments, especially on the golf course. So I kind of realized that over time. And one of the things that also that I was very interested was as kids growing up, I noticed that, a lot of the parents gives toys and things like that for, infants and so forth. And a lot of them are like miniature versions of adult toys, like cars, dolls, and so forth.
Yeah.
Where, they are replicas of real life items. But one thing I noticed was there were material things that were missing on things on values, right? And how do we incorporate those values? And so that's where golf stepped in. I thought golf could be a great running ground, where to impart life's values. And that's how, over time, that was stuck in my mind, and it ended up in a book later, I guess.
Yeah. And Rishi, going through the book, you really do frame golf as more than a game. It's really a classroom for life. So why do you believe golf uniquely teaches, just those core values like honesty, integrity, and accountability more or better, I should say, than other sports?
Yeah, golf is unique, as you mentioned, because it's a game of honesty, patience, self-control. You name it, right?
Yeah.
It goes on. We can go through that. The beauty about golf is there's no referee standing next to you, right? As you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're expected to call penalties on yourself. How many of these games, each of the sports is extremely important and they all teach values, but how many of them do this one thing on the penalties that I thought was extremely valuable? Each shot, teaches accountability, for example. Every bad break, tests our emotional control. Every round, for example, reminds us that, the kids that effort matters more than perfection. These lessons translate beautifully into real life, especially for kids. And so the connections were pretty obvious, as you might have, seen, with the kids and so forth. So as I was walking through over time, I thought this is such a powerful teacher of values. And so that's how this whole thing came about.
Rishi, pull back the curtain and share a little bit about your journey as a golf parent. I'm going to brag on you. Your son Vishnu progressed from junior golf here in the Houston area, went on to Texas A&M, and now is a professional golfer. So just share a little bit of your story and what you learned throughout this process.
Yeah, I can talk about my son too, but we're all in the same boat here. Including your son, Stephen, and But what I would say was there was a lot of personal moments, with Vishnu too, as we went through. For example, I mean, at one point, when he's small, with the U.S. kids, playing the U.S. kids, he struggled shot after shot and so forth, and then, he was hard on himself, he missed a 3-footer, at the end of the tournament, and so at that point, it looked such a huge, big deal, and so I'm sitting there looking at it and saying, hey, it's not such a big deal. So these were some quiet moments there that were, it was not the conversation wasn't about effort, perspective, and learning, but or instead of blaming and so forth. It was all about, getting some viewpoints on that perspective, which when you're at that moment and you kind of braid into that little aspect of the golf there, you don't realize those. And so there were some personal moments of, that came about with my son that over time, I think, that are reflected in the book as he browse through that, you'll see that. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of time like that, yeah.
Well, Rishi, you've always had a really healthy perspective and been such a tremendous example out on the golf course as a golf parent. And so let's speak to the golf parents listening in and those that are perhaps new to junior golf. What are one or two things parents should absolutely do to support their child in the right way?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a golfing parent, first up, this is my perspective, is I'm a parent and I'm not a coach. It's kind of something I kind of like to, segregate those two. Because if you try to do your coaching duties and combine it with the parent, it gets a little bit of conflicting, it gets a little, conflict there. Because now what you're doing is you're trying to correct your son is doing the best, trust me, as your son or daughter, it could be either one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing their best when they're playing the game there. So you got to give it to them, and be the cheerleader there, and after they play the game, when they come to the, to the driving range, if they have a coach or not, that's when, things can be worked on, but when they're playing, that's the biggest takeaway that I've had is it's as frustrating as, as a parent sometimes to see that and observe, but that's where you as a parent, also develop the skills that are needed for the life. It's a journey that we embark, right? And it's a fun journey, when you look back, with a lot of good and bad moments, that are captured on photos and whatnot, right? So it's, so we've got all those good moments, I would say, we acknowledge the emotions, you pause, you respond thoughtfully, I'm curious and the kids will, mirror that behavior as we go through that, right? We don't overcorrect, we guide them, things like little stuff like that, that's what builds character in our kids, right? So things like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the highlights, of course, you mentioned my son, Stephen, and your son, Vishnu. They were actually teammates on the Junior President's Cup back in 2019. We went to Australia together. I mean, it was incredible. You were not on that trip, but what did Vishnu share about that experience, in terms of just teamwork and values and just coming together with all of these amazing golfers and on an international stage?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I couldn't make it on the trip, but Stephen. I mean, they had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, and housekeeping had tabs, even though it was nighttime here. But just the whole experience, I think, was out of the world for them with the PGA professional kind of monitoring them, and actually I think Tiger Woods was happened to be there.
Yes.
For the next, and I think they all had a chance to meet with him and take pictures and so forth. I mean, so I think it was just out of the ordinary, and just ultimately US winning the tournament. I mean, it's not about winning or losing, but just a feel for the winning towards the end. I think helped the whole team, and I think that Stephen and Vishnu, go a long way, and they've been always friends, living with this area and so forth, right? So I think it's just amazing. I think that was something that I'm sure they'll always carry with them, throughout their lives.
You bet.
Going to an out-of-country and playing that, right? So, yeah.
You're listening to the voice of Rishi Sadagopan, the author of his new book, Parenting with Values in Today's World. And let's take a deeper dive into your book, because parents today are navigating youth sports in an era of, we got rankings, you got social media, constant comparison. What values do you feel are the most at risk being lost? And what can, as parents, we want to do everything we can to protect those so that doesn't, get lost.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, in today's world of the social media, I mean, when we were, if you take a couple of decades ago or so forth, or even less than that, Google and things were relatively, new at that point. So, I mean, today you have AI, machine learning, other stuff. I mean, the world is moving really fast. But what we want to do is, as the world moves fast, one thing we want to do is we want to keep something really constant to the whole thing, right? Here's what I would say. We cannot control the world our kids grow up in, but we can help shape how they show up in it. And that's kind of what I would really like to focus on, because there are certain things that over course, your generation, our generation, our previous generation, the next generation, certain things do not change and that are constant. And those are the value systems, right?
Right.
And that's what golf teaches us. I mean, we can name a whole lot of stuff, right? I mean, which is what my book kind of goes to it. If I kind of name a few of them, I connect each one of them that we have in golf to a value system. For example, if we have a caddy, it's like developing a partnership and trust, right? I mean, let's say we tee up the ball, that's like providing support to others. I mean, during the golf tour, we go and, the team players go and find a lost ball. What do they do? They help others.
They help, yep.
Right? I mean, so we have, I can go on and on this. I mean, if you have, bad results, how do you accept it? How do you deal with anger? Right? So that's, that's something that bad results can help you with it, right? Similarly, if you drive the driver, even there you learn something. If it goes out of bounds, you're penalized. Similarly with life, but there's freedom there. You can hit within the fairway, but if you go beyond that, it has limits on there, so they're penalized just in life. But so I think we can go. I can go through the whole thing. Your rangefinder, we use that, right? That's again, you focus on a target. How do you visualize? How do you, what are the means to get there? Things like that. We have, say, putting, for example. We ask our kids to focus, but how do you focus? If you just say focus, it's good. But how do you do that? You just put them on the golf course and ask them to putt. You don't have to do anything. They're automatically learn how to focus. Things like that. So we can go on.
Yeah. The title of his book is Parenting with Values in Today's World, Hidden Secrets from Golf. You can go anywhere online. Amazon has it posted, Amazon.com, and get a copy of the book. Perfect stocking stuffer, as we are just 1 week away from the Christmas holiday. And my final question for you is just what kind of feedback are you receiving? Because I was looking at your TikTok link and it's got over 500,000 views.
Yeah, I'm surprised myself for the feedback that I'm getting. Yes, more than 500,000 views on TikTok and the comments and so forth has been very encouraging. And there are people from all spectrum. I think I would say, there are people who say, "Hey, I don't have kids, but I plan to read the book." Versus, "I'm having a kid. Here, I got one comment saying, "Here, I've got a 4-year-old. I'm going to introduce to golf." And so forth. So it's ranging from a whole spectrum, I guess. So relatively, overall, extremely good feedback on the book so far. Which I just wrote it just to get my thoughts, I guess, more than anything else. When I started writing the book, I'm very thankful for all the positive reviews that I've got so far.
You bet. Rishi Sadagopan has been on our show, first-time author, father, and a thoughtful voice on parenting with a purpose. You can go anywhere online and get a copy of his new book, Parenting with Values in Today's World, Hidden Secrets from golf. And I'm so proud of you, Rishi. You got it done. And we look forward to another conversation real soon and seeing you on the golf course, okay?
Thank you, Elissa, so much. It's been a wonderful journey with our kids, and
Yes.
I do really appreciate you taking time to interview and talk to me like this. And obviously, it means a lot. And I would just say, to all the parents out there, it's a fun world out there. Just go enjoy the time with the kids. Like I mentioned before, the world that the kids are growing up is going to change and will change, but definitely shape how they show up, and at least we can do our part there.
Absolutely. What a powerful conversation with Rishi Sadagopan. Go ahead and get a copy of his book, Parenting with Values in Today's World, Hidden Secrets from Golf. Happy holidays, and we look forward to connecting again soon. Thank you, Rishi.
Thank you.